Untitled Radio. Always.
Welcome back to the arcade. Well, today's the day. And this box is a Star Wars board set. I bought this almost 3 years ago. As a matter of fact, the expected delivery date on the postage tag here is October 31st, 2018. If I remember correctly, I think it came on October 30th. So I believe it came a day early. Boy, that's not going to happen nowadays, is it? So anyway, a little background on this. First of all, my Star Wars upright. The board that's in it has a Empire Strikes Back kit on it, Vector Labs kit, and it has developed a problem. Well, I have a spare board set, and the last time the Star Wars board set had a problem, I took my spare set, which was working, and I took one of the boards. I don't remember which one. I don't know if it was the CPU board or the AVG board, but I took one of them and used it to just get the game working. So I know I have a problem with my spare board set. Now I got a problem with the main board set. So with me, it's easier, I don't say it's easy, but it's easier to try to figure out what's wrong with a Star Wars board if you have a working board to compare it by. First of all, you can take the CPU board and you can switch it with your bad board set, and if you got a known good board set, well, you can sort of figure out which board has the problem by swapping a good board in its place. So that way you can narrow down the problem. Once you got it narrowed down to a particular board, well, then if you can go through the board, try to figure out what it's doing and what it's not doing, and go through the schematics and try to figure out what section your problem is at. Then if you have to, you can do a comparison. You can hook up your good working board and you can take a logic probe and you can do a little probing around, and then you can put the non-working board back on and do the same thing and kind of do a comparison. And that's kind of the way that I fix boards, is by comparing a good board to a bad board. And there are other ways, but anyway, it all depends on what the problem is. Some problems are easy to find, like if you have a chip that has a floating output, or something that's stuck low or stuck high or whatever. So, but we're not going to get into that right now. Right now, this board I got from Arcade Jason. A little bit of the history of it. Spent a little over 3 years ago, Todd Tuckey of TNT Amusements put one of his sale videos up. I believe he calls them Boards a Go-Go. So he had a whole table full of Star Wars boards, and I believe they were Tempest boards. And he sold the whole lot. Arcade Jason bought the lot. He bought the Star Wars boards and the Tempest boards. So what he did was he started going through the boards and repaired them, fixed them, and started selling them to recoup his money back that he paid for the boards. Okay, so I needed a board set. So I went ahead, I contacted Arcade Jason. He fixed this board and sent it to me. So it's supposed to be a working board set. Well, we're going to see. I know how that goes because I've fixed boards before, and within an hour or 2 hours later, they're broke again. So, you know, hopefully it's going to be good. So let's go ahead and open it. And unwrap the boards, and we'll have to put the board set together. Okay. And let's see what we got. Okay, well, I got 3 well-wrapped boards here. Let's start with this. This is the sound board, obviously. And it's wrapped in aluminum foil. Which is anti-static prevention. And here we are, complete soundboard. All right, so I'm just going to put this down here for the time being. All right, let's see which one we have here. Again, wrapped in aluminum foil. Wait a minute here. Here we go. This one has a wire on the back. Don't believe any of my sets have a wire on the back like that, and I wonder what's up with that. Okay. Well, the board is complete and intact. And this is the main board, or I like to call it the CPU board, because it has the CPU right here. Here's the ROMs. All right. And this should be the AVG board. Definitely well wrapped and well protected. Okay, this is the AVG board. And it still has an original AVG chip. You don't see many of them nowadays. Most of them are going bad. It's kind of a ticking time bomb on these boards. I might have to eventually get one of those. Of course, this should be working, but if not, I can always take one of the replacements out of one of my other boards. I have replacements on the other two boards. All right, well, got another little bodge wire right here. Don't know what's up with that. And it's soldered directly to the connector right here where the filter board goes on. But nothing on the bottom. Everything there looks okay. Well, take that back. Here's a couple more little wires right here. Of course, it's normal. You know, make repairs that way if, you know, some traces might have been damaged at one point. Or sometimes you have factory changes that are all like that. But I don't believe any of my boards have those. Here's my spare board set. Of course, it's hard to tell because the back side of the board is sandwiched in here. But yeah, right offhand, I don't see any bodged wires. Well, I don't care as long as it works, so that's fine with me. Okay. So let's put this together. Now, you figure this out. All right. That goes like that. Have the that board right there. And that actually goes down there. And here's my filter board. I need to take my screws out of here. Guess I could already had these out, but okay. Now what I need to do is figure out which goes where. Let's see. I'm going to have to put these standoffs that holds the soundboard on, but they go on the other boards. Let me put this out the way for a second. Okay, the soundboard goes right here on this end. Now I didn't get the exact spacers I wanted. I bought a set of spacers, a little set, off of eBay, and they had some that were very close. The only thing is they're a little small, So the hole is kind of big, and they almost get lost in the hole, not quite. So I'm going to have to add a little washer on them. I may try to do a little search and find some that are a little closer. I also had to take a grinder and grind them down to the right thickness so that the boards would set the correct distance apart. So so I'm going to put washers on them. And I cut these to size, accounting for the washers, so that they'll be the exact size. And the washers will just make sure I don't put any strain around the holes. Okay. What I need to do is get it lined up with the soundboard. So let's see. That goes on there. The soundboard goes on there. I'm going to make sure they're square. It's the only thing. Okay. Great. Dropped one of the washers. That's going to be a pain. Definitely need to source the right size so I don't have to fool with these washers. Okay. All right, I'm just going to leave this washer out for now. I'll find it later. What I want to do is just get them in so I can tighten up this screws on the back side here so that I know they're in the right place. Okay. That's done. Ah, boy. Well, this just ain't easy, is it? Did I put this on backwards? No, that's right. For a second there, I thought I put it on wrong. All right, put the screws in the blocks here. There we go. When I got this board here, these aluminum blocks, somebody had cross-threaded these screws here, and so I had to straighten them up with a tap. Okay. Okay, there we have it. put on my cable that I made for the soundboard. Okay. Bent a little bit. Okay, that's more like it. These have bent a little bit too. These are just little things you have to do sometimes. No big deal. All right. And there we have it. Star Wars board ready to go in and be tested. So, now all I got to do is dig the Star Wars cabinet out so we can have access to it. And then I got to figure out how I'm going to do this. I guess first I'll just turn on the game with the board that's in it and see if it's still semi-working. It would kind of work on Star Wars, but when you switched it to The Empire Strikes Back, it was just it was messed up. Let's put it that way. When you first put it on, when you first turn it on, the steering yoke had a problem. It was slow reacting, I think, right and left. I think up and down worked fine, but when you if you put it in test and you had the little test, if you turned it all the way, it would real slowly move. Like you moved the wheel and then it would slowly move, and it wouldn't quite move all the way. After the game warmed up, then that went away and that was fine. But you still had times where the game would it was almost like it was slowing down. The frame rate was slowing down and wanting to hang up. And so anyway, it's got problems. So, but I had tested all the voltages and everything, and all the voltages were fine. So well, we still may want to test all the voltages before I hook this board up, just to make double certain that the cabinet, there's nothing wrong in the cabinet, power supply and everything is working. So, all right, well, let me go ahead and start working on that, and I'll be back when we're ready to do some testing. All right, well, I've dug the Star Wars game out of the corner, and I got it set up here. I got everything plugged in. I already looked at the edge connectors to make sure they were clean, and looked everything over in the cabinet. It has been about over 3 years since I fired it up, because the last time I had this going, if you watched my video about I just wanted to put wheels on my Star Wars, that turned into I believe a 10 episode series where I had to practically rebuild the cabinet, put a new bottom in the cabinet, and just redo all the side panels. The cabinet was falling apart. So anyway, if you hadn't seen that, go back and check it out. It's in my playlist. So anyway, that was the last time I had this fired up. And at the end of that last video, I put some footage on here showing what this game was doing. So I haven't fired it up since then, so let's find out. I'm just going to go for it and turn the game on. And let's see, I don't have the power strip on. There we go. All right, the fan's coming on. Let's go around here and see if I... Uh-oh. Okay, it may be in test. Let me check. Take it out of test. This does have a Vector Labs Star Wars Empire Strikes Back kit in it. So when you turn the test switch off, and it does have an error automatically, so you can't go by that. So let me go ahead and cut it off here and turn it back on. And let's see if the game boots up this time. That's what makes it a little difficult about trying to figure out what's wrong with it once you have the Vector Labs kit installed on it. Okay. Well, I don't have anything. So that's not good. All right, let me see if I got neck glow. Let me turn these lights off. Yes, I have neck glow. So I must not have an image from the board. Let me try putting it back in test mode and see if anything changes. Nope. Well, getting sound. I don't remember which way the test button is supposed to be in test. Okay, well that's a fail. All right, first thing I need to do is go ahead and I'm going to unplug the board, and I'm going to go ahead and get the voltmeter out, and I'm going to test all the voltages. Okay, I checked all the voltages, and all the voltages are good at the board. I went ahead and the game boots up, but it's playing blind.
Who's going to increase the power?
I did see a little bit horizontal line on the screen, just barely every now and then. So
Yahoo! You're all
It's got problems. Okay. Well, the voltages are good. I already knew the board had problems, but it's got worse problems now. It could be it needs some the IC chips reseated or whatever. But I'm just going to go ahead and pull it out. And boy, I never cleaned that out after I did my work on it. It's got sawdust in it. I'm confident that it's going to work. So okay. Got that plugged in. I'm going to go ahead and turn my other camera on here so we can see what, if anything, is going to come up on the screen. Here we go. Let's fire it up.
The past will be with you.
And no picture. So obviously I have a monitor problem now. That sucks. No.
There's 5 standing by.
Don't think that's a monitor problem. Definitely not a monitor problem. Well, that sucks. Let me put it in test mode.
The past will be with you. Always. The past will be with you.
All right, let me cut it off and cut it back on. Let's see if the test mode comes up. Well, yeah. Hardware errors. No errors detected. Well, the controller seems to be working. I would say that it's an AVG chip. So let's pull it out and change that AVG chip and give it a try. After all, this board does have the original AVG chip in it. So, take it over here to the workbench and swap that chip out real fast, and I'll be back. Okay, just for grins and giggles, I put my original spare board set in here. This board is just Star Wars. It doesn't have any kits on it. This is the one that I'm pretty sure has a problem, but if I remember correctly, it would run in a track mode. But when you started the game, I think is when you had problems. So sure enough, there it is. It's running in a track mode. And so that tells me that there's nothing wrong with the monitor. So that's a start. All right, I'm almost scared to start a game. Okay. All right, let's coin it up and see what happens.
The boss will be with you.
All right, 1 credit,
Always.
2 credits.
Red 5 standing by.
Ain't this something? Ain't this a kick in the butt? It's working.
Red 5, I'm going in. Use the force.
I'm having to stand to one side because of the cameras in the way. So it's not as easy to play this way, sort of leaning over to one side, but and plus I haven't played this game in 3 years or more. It is out of calibration. Okay, that's better.
Red 5, I'm going in. Use the force, Luke.
Okay, now it's starting to get a little harder. I'm sure this board is set on easy. Whew, that gets rather
Red 5, I'm
intense.
going in.
is very interesting because I know this board wasn't working. I mean, it was working, and I took one of the boards to fix the one that had the Vector Labs kit in it. So that means the board should be, one of them should be bad, but it's not. It's working. Let me think. Did I reseat any of the chips? No, I didn't. I just cleaned the edge connector and... Okay, I'm going to put it in test mode and see what happens. See if it gets a clean bill of health. All right, we hit the advance. No errors detected. Switch test. Oh, that seems good. Huh. Okay. Looks fairly good. Looks okay. Looks okay. It's not bad. All right, that looks good. That's a little wonky, but a lot of them are that way, so that's a little hard to adjust that, but it could probably be tweaked. And back to the switch test. Let me take it out of test. My switch is, I got to remember this, up is gameplay, down is test mode. Well, ain't that a bite in the ass? My spare board works. I don't know what's up with that, because maybe it was just a bad socket and it's making contact now. Or maybe those board edge connectors was dirty. I did clean them. Okay, well, still got one more thing to check. I still want to see if the board I got from Arcade Jason is working, because right now it's not. So what I might have to do is reseat the chips on that. And first I think I might just change that AVG chip. And because that is a common failure point on these boards, and it does have an original chip in it. He may have mentioned it to me, and I don't remember. It's been 3 years ago. He might have said that I need to get one. I don't remember. I guess I could look in my old emails, but if that's a fix, that's no problem, because, you know, I was pretty sure I was going to have to put one in it anyway. So, okay. Well, let me go ahead and see what I can do, and I'll be back shortly. I'll tell you what I did. We'll try it again. Give it one more try. Okay, well, I figured I might as well go ahead and document what I'm doing here. This is the board I got from Arcade Jason. It's currently not working, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the AVG chip out, and I'm going to put this replacement, which I got from, pretty sure I got this from Arcade Shops. This is the one I took off of the board that I took out of the game that had the Vector Labs kit installed. Since the other board set, my second spare board set, seems to be working, I figured I'm not going to mess with that. So this should be good, but I guess they can go bad, so we shall see. Now, it could be any of these rams here could be bad. Could be, these have gold legs on these. These are the white rams. And okay, this original AVG chip, the legs are nice and shiny on it. Looks like new. So, I don't know. Let me take a close look at the socket, see what the socket looks like. The socket looks like it's got some corrosion, so I may have to do a socket job on this. But who knows, plugging this in may bring it back to life. Okay, here is the notch. So, got to be kind of careful with these. These machine pins are real thin and they bend real easy. All right, appears to be in. All right, let's put it back in and see what happens. Okay, let me put it in test mode. Let me cut it on. Okay, 16 is a boot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 15, 16. All right, 16 beeps, 15 beeps and 1 boop.
The force will be with you.
All right, let me check with the manual and see what that is. Okay, well, I'm back, and I got out the Star Wars troubleshooting guide, and in the last clip, if you remember when we put this board, and of course we're going to focus on getting this board I got from Arcade Jason working. The other 2 boards we're not going to worry about right now. They'll be a subject of another video, but sometimes you have to use one of the other boards to try to fix another board, but we're not up to that stage right yet. When I put this board in test mode and turn the game on, it gives you the audio tones, 16 tones, and depending on whether you have high tones and a low tone, a high tone means good, a low tone, or a boop I call it, is bad. So with this board right here, we were getting 15 beeps and 16 was a boop. So if we look, I just printed out this page here, and if we look right here, tone 16 is position 1L on the AVG board, and it's a vector ROM. So I did notice when I first pulled this board out of the box that this is the ROM right here, and this is the vector ROM. It doesn't have a cover over the window, but it's been in a box sealed up for about almost 3 years. So more than likely, unless the chip has gone bad, because ROM chips do go bad just from age, it could be that the legs have corroded somehow. It could be a bad socket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pull the chip. Actually, it don't look like it's all the way in. Well, it might be all the way in, but I sure can't get that big screwdriver in there good. All right, let me pop it out and look at the legs real quick. Yeah, the legs have definitely look corroded. All right, let me take a look at the socket itself under my magnifying visor and see what the socket looks like. Well, the socket's not the best I've ever seen, but it's not the worst I've ever seen, but yeah, it's got some corrosion on that socket too. So we might have to change that socket. Let me see if I can get you a close-up of that. Let me see if I can get in here close to this socket, and we'll show you what that socket looks like. I get it to focus. See, that's pretty gnarly right there. Definitely not what I call a clean socket, so I can't really see the wiper on the other side, but you get the picture from, I get it to focus there, that right there, that's pretty corroded. So yeah, I'd say I'm gonna have to probably change that socket. And here is the pins on the chip on the ROM. Hard to keep it in focus not being on a tripod, but you can kind of get a sense that it's not exactly the cleanest legs you've ever seen, nor are they the dirtiest. So yeah, that's definitely a problem. So I could go ahead and clean the legs on this chip and reseat the socket, the chip in the socket a few times. But what I did in anticipation that maybe that was bad, I just went ahead and burned a new ROM, and I got a chance to use one of my fake ROMs here. This is a, I bought these from China on eBay a while back, and these are marked as 2532s, but actually what they turned out to be is 2732s, and they just rebranded them. So they work fine as 2732s, and that's what this takes. So I was able to go ahead and just take one of them and burn one. So let's go ahead and put it in, and we're going to give it a try and see what happens. And I'm going to pop it in and out a few times. And if this don't do it, then I'll go ahead and pull the board apart, and I'll go ahead and put a socket in here. Which I'll probably do anyway. Just if I get the board working, I'll probably just go ahead and pull all the socketed chips, clean all of them, and if the sockets look bad, I'll go ahead and just replace the sockets, and then you don't have to worry about it for a while anyway. Okay, well, let's go ahead and put it in the game, fire it up, and see if we get a working game. All right, let's put it back in. Okay, Let's cross the fingers, see what we get.
The force will be with you.
And there we go. It looks like we just had either a dirty socket or a bad ROM. Now I'll go ahead and I'll take that ROM and put it on my programmer and see if it's good rather than just stick it back in the game. I could stick it back in the game, I guess, but all right. Let's go ahead and put a credit in here.
Red 5 standing by. Red 5, I'm going in. Use the force. You're all clear,
Kaboom! Gotta love that effect. At this point, all I'm doing is trying to catch up. Keep from getting blown up. I keep hitting the camera. This camera I don't have on a tripod. I got it on a monopole, which has feet on the bottom. It's not very stable. So if I hit it, it wants to rock. Need to get me another tripod.
I'm off our kill.
Okay.
The force will be with you, always. The force will be with you.
It might be set on free play. I don't remember how free play on Star Wars works because it's saying 1 credit. I added more than 1 credit and it just says 1 credit. So I'm not sure if that's the same as free play or what the deal is going on there, but it's probably the dip switch settings. I haven't checked them out. Let me go ahead and put it in test mode. Okay. I may advance this. Yeah, it's on free play. Okay, that's what I was thinking. Okay, well, I'll leave it on that for now. I'll definitely probably change that if I ever put this board in because I like to use tokens in my little arcade here. So, okay, let me go through the rest of the test menu here while I'm at it. If I can find the button again. Okay. No hardware errors, no errors detected. Self-test, look at that joystick, right on the money just about. It feels like I might have a gear messed up. Now, I rebuilt this joystick I wonder if that gear is cracked already. Just from age, maybe? When you pull it all the way back, it's got a little click to it. I'm gonna have to pull it apart and look at it. It's always something. All right. No divider errors, no matrix errors. The size might be a little small. I might have to readjust the pots on the board. I don't know yet. Then again, keeping it small like that might take stress off the monitor. That looks good. Scale test linear is good. Okay, that's normal. It's hard to get those perfect. I don't know what the deal is with that, but I've never seen a board that was actually perfect, but that's pretty darn close. Okay, well, that's everything.
The force will be with you.
But yeah, I think definitely I'm gonna have to make the picture a little bigger. You always have to adjust those to your game because your monitor has adjustments which could be different from the game that the board was in before. And then since this board is a board that was repaired, you know, you don't take time to set it up. You have to actually have the cabinet. In the cabinet, you're going to put the board in to really set it up properly. So, you know, that's just a little minor thing. So, you don't have to worry about that until it's time you're going to put the board in the game and leave it in there. All right, well, just for grins and giggles, let me clean the legs on that RAM chip, and I'm betting it was just dirty legs, combination between the legs and the socket. And we'll give it another try. Okay, well, I reinstalled the original Vector ROM in the socket on the board, and I also pulled the AVG off of it and put the original AVG chip on it. So we're going to find out if the board I got from Arcade Jason is 100% working with no problems. I believe it will be.
The force will be with you.
Huh, okay. Well, guess what? Either the ROM is bad or the AVG is bad. Let's put it in test mode and see what it says. Let me cut it off and cut it on in test mode, and we'll see if it's got any beeps or boops. It'll at least tell me if the ROM is good, and then we'll know it's the AVG. Ah, the Vector ROM. So that ROM is bad. Okay. All right, let me pull it back out, and I'll put the one that I burned back in it and leave the original AVG chip, and then we'll know whether the AVG chip is good or bad. All right, well, I done put the Vector ROM chip back in that I burnt myself. So let's turn it on and see what we get now. I may have left it in test, I don't remember. Yep, left it in test. But we got a picture. It looks like we got a working game.
The force will be with you.
Okay, well, it's obvious that the AVG chip, the original AVG chip, is good. So, I would suspect that that ROM is bad. Still could be that maybe when I put it in, it wasn't making a good contact with that socket. But I cleaned the legs on the ROM real good, so final test will be I can take it in and check it on my programmer, and that'll tell me whether it's bad or not. It's possible that I could erase it and reburn it. A lot of times, you know, ROMs will do that. The data will just get a little out of kilter, especially since it didn't have a cover over the erase window. So, you know, I could erase it and reprogram it and it'll be fine. But that's the things you run into whenever you're doing any kind of board work with any arcade game. And like I say, I know that this board was working 100% when Jason shipped it out to me, because he burned it in. It's just over time, it's set in that box for, like I say, right at 3 years. Be 3 years next month. So, yeah, you know, it happens. So I'm a happy camper. I mean, I can understand where some people might not be, people who doesn't have the ability to do what I just did. But that's one reason why I make these videos, to show you, somebody, of course there's people out there might be watching this that, oh, this is nothing compared to what they know how to do. And, you know, but there's some people out there that this is voodoo magic, and they're scared to touch anything. They don't know what's going on. They don't know how to do anything. So that's why I like to make these videos, to show that, hey, if I can do it, you can do it. So there you go. This has just been another arcade fix. Have you had your arcade fix today?